Hello, hello, hello. Sir David the Bard coming out of Kangaroo City down here in Australia for the Danites, and I'm hiding in a soup kitchen, broadcasting from the Catholic Church area. They feed the poor with their money, and you know there's not going to be any Mormon Danites here, so they're not going to get me. Anyway, here's what I wanted to bring up. I've been kind of following on other threads over the internet. There's more and more resistance to bishops asking 12-year-old girls if they masturbate. Now, you Mormons are going to say, they don't do that. They don't, you're going to go into your denial. I watched the internet, and I watched the girls come on and said, yeah, that does go on, and the missionary sisters come on and say it goes on. My ex-wife, the second one, she said she was asked in Oklahoma by her bishop, and she said, well, what is that? She was just into intercourse. She didn't know anything about masturbation. So anyway, I have a degree in social work, and I've worked with children my whole life, and I have 14 kids, and I've been what they call a mandated reporter for over 30 years, and if I see anything that even looks like abuse or suspected abuse, I have immunity from prosecution if I mention it to the state and a social worker goes out and they're found innocent. I still have immunity, but I can go to jail if I don't report it, and they can prove that I was suspicious or saw it. And so I've been a mandated reporter my whole life. Here's what I'm thinking. This society is moving. I've lived so long, I see it leaning and growing, and video cameras and discipline of children and relationships and black people and gays having civil rights and marriages, and I've seen a lot of things in my lifetime, and I'm going to bring something up to the Mormons right now that watch me. And I told you before, there's about 1,000 Mormons a day in Utah that pick up my program. They don't tell their bishops. They can get excommunicated for just listening to me. But anyway, I'm crossing the line now with what is abuse. If I walked up to your daughter and she was 12 years old and I said, honey, how often do you masturbate and how do you do it? If you didn't turn me in to social services, you're a negligent parent. You're negligent. Back in the old days, the bishops would not let parents come in for their teens interview. The whole society is changing, folks. Most parents now are saying, you're not talking to my child alone. They have nothing to say to you that they can't say to a parent. Now, this is where I'm coming from. I think that we need a movement in society, and it will pressure the Mormon Church to knock that shit off. I remember in the 60s, the bishops used to ask, do you engage in oral sex? And I tried to keep my recommend and said, well, not that often. But anyway, they took my recommend anyway. And I'm saying we need a society moving forward. Religion, the stink of religion does not cover up the iniquity of damaging our children. When the Catholic priests are having sex with the altar boys, that in and of itself is disgusting. And I'm proud of the Pope. He's apologized. Both popes have. And they've tried to clean house. They're not cleaning under the carpet. They're cleaning house. Well, when that became public, now the pressure is on, and those young boys are going to be protected. I say let's protect the young people of the damn Mormon Church. When Allison went to the Mormon Church last Sunday, while I was holding my breath, she met her little boyfriend over there and saw him, and then after school church, she said, can I go out and play? I said, sure. So she went over to his house. He can't play. he had an interview with the bishop. He's 10 and a half. 10 and a half, not even 11 yet. And he had an interview with the bishop. And the bishop is free to ask him if he plays with his weenie. Is this sick? Is this Mormonism at its height level? You know, we find disgusting things in the temple. We find disgusting things with Joseph Smith and Brigham Young and Porter Rockwell and Mountain Meadows, Galilee. The whole thing is a heap of shit. Who's standing on that heap that the Mormons are still abusing? Little children. Little children. I say, the Bard declares a war on asking sexual questions to anyone in a religion. It's not the religion's business. It's not God asking, do you play with your vagina? Have you found your clitoris yet? Clitoris? I forget how you pronounce it. But I know where it is. Anyway, let's protect even the Mormon children. I say that next time you know that a bishop asks a young boy or a young girl if they masturbated during a temple interview, you turn that bishop in to social services. You turn him in. Because if I was on the jury and many other people on the jury, he'd be convicted. He'd be convicted. Society now has moved that far, and I've seen it cross the line. In the old days, they say, well, religion, it can do it whatever it wants. If the Catholic priests want to have sex with the boys and the Mormons want to play with the masturbation kids, it's okay. No more. It's a new generation. I'm not part of it, but I'm proud of it. The new generation, you put them on a jury, that bishop's ass is in jail for the rest of his life. That's child abuse. So Mormons, I declare war on you and your bishops if you continue to allow them to interview alone. You're negligent if you don't go in with your kids, and if you find out that they ask anything sexual of a 12, 13, 15, 18-year-old child, put them in jail. Put them in jail. Becoming a bishop doesn't give any carte blanche authority to ask that. I'm a counselor. I'm a master's level counselor. God knows how many people I've sat in session with and kids in group therapy and whatever. I'm certainly more qualified to hear that. I've never asked it, but I have had people say something to me, and then I will probe it and ask how I might be able to help or support or whatever. But Mormons, be aware. Be aware. The Bard is at war. The Bard is looking for you. Don't send your Danites over here. My little girl Allison went to your church last Sunday. Her boyfriend was being interviewed, and I'm sure was going to be asked about his erections and what he does with them. Now I have to be very careful here. If any bishop takes my child into an office, alone or otherwise, and asks her about masturbation, let me be careful. I certainly will follow the law as a mandated reporter. I certainly would call a social worker. I would certainly set my child up to bear testimony in court that is reliable. And I promise that as I breathe and live, I will not stop using the law legally to put those Mormon bishops or stake presidents in jail. It's child abuse. Why can't the Mormons see it? Why can't society see it? What would you do to a school teacher that kept your child after school and said to your 11-year-old, honey, do you masturbate? You think that teacher would have a job? You think that teacher wouldn't be in jail? But we let the Mormons get away with it. Why? Why? Does only the Bard see this? Or after I say it, do you see it? You know, let's raise a banner. Like the Mormons, they always raise banners. Like the 2,000 strapling warriors. They just poked each other in the butt with swords. None of them ever fought a day in his life. They didn't even exist. So anyway, Mormons and bishops and stake presidents and general authorities, be aware. Be aware. I am going to be a loud and strong voice, not only against your bishops and your stake presidents, but your doctrine to abuse children. It started with Joseph Smith screwing 14-year-olds, and now you're allowing your leadership, who are inspired, they can look at a child and say, I need to ask that child this question. It's war. Turn those bishops in. Turn the Mormon church in until they come up with a new policy and a new letter to the bishops and the stake presidents. We no longer will be asking any sexual questions of minors. Thank you.